And in speaking today and being with you on the theme of resilience and wellness, which is the topic of this 3 days retreat, um, I want to speak some about a dimension of mindfulness and why it can be such a gift in our lives, how it can bring about a deep wellness and a shift of perspective, and in an even more profound way, it can bring to us a shift of identity. Because if we look at today's world, first of all, it's very busy. We have social media and all of the things online and 24/7. We have very busy lives. And often you see people, walking down the street primarily lost in thought, not actually there to see the shops that they go by or the sunset that happens, or if there are beautiful trees in the park that they walk by. We get caught in our thoughts and our ideas about past and future. Thoughts are very useful, but they actually keep us from being alive and present where we are. And then these days, through the media especially, we hear all the problems of the world, the climate change and the struggle for social and economic justice and the pandemic, and increasing violence or divisiveness and so forth. And we get caught in those. In our own mind, we carry them around, the conflicts in work or family. And very often, when we do get things that are difficult, whether they're the collective difficulties or in our work or family, when we're not mindful, there can be a lot of reactivity. We get upset, we get angry, we judge ourselves, and we can be such harsh judges of ourselves. The American author Florida Scott Maxwell writes, "No matter how old a mother is, she looks to her middle-aged children for signs of improvement." And so we can undertake even mindfulness practices. Okay, I go to the gym and I work out, and maybe I have a counselor or somebody who helps me, and I'm on a good diet, and now I'm going to meditate and make myself better. But it's not about that. It turns out that mindfulness is much more about kindness and love. We judge ourselves, and then the society judges us. I remember teaching with Trudy in China a few years ago, a very large retreat, and learned about the phrase there that was translated was leftover women. They reached age 25 or 28 or something, and they weren't married yet. And so that doomed them for the rest of their lives. And you can imagine the pressure that put on them. But it's not just that, it's the pressure on our kids. And again, teaching in places as here in the US or Europe or in Korea, where there's a high suicide rate because the kids are so pressured. You understand what I'm talking about. Fortunately, from the time of profound ancient teachings in ancient cultures, there is a possibility through mindfulness of listening, of stepping back, of opening the heart, tending the heart, opening the mind. And even a little bit of this practice can change us, can change our life. One of the studies that's been done for 8-week course of mindfulness practice showed that there are tremendous transformations that can happen for a person in this time. And I'll talk about science and the science of it in a moment, but I want to add that it actually takes one moment. It doesn't take 8 weeks. Any moment that we see, oh, lost, oh, upset, oh, judging myself, thinking I'm not doing enough, not perfect, not doing it right, or judging someone else. In a moment with mindfulness, we can step back and see, oh, this is the judging mind. Oh, this is the frightened mind. Oh, this is the worried or, upset mind. And in that moment, in that mindful pause, we find an inner sense of freedom. Now, in the last 20 or 30 years, there have been an accelerating number now, over 10,000 scientific studies and papers on mindfulness and the complementary practices of compassion and loving kindness and its benefit. And you probably heard about it in these last couple of days. On a physical level, there's a study at Harvard that was done that shows practicing mindfulness gives neural protection for the nervous system that starts to bring a protection to the neurons. And the study at Emory University shows improved immune function. And at University of Massachusetts, an increase in physical healing just by slowing down and paying attention to the breath and body, to the feelings and thoughts. And then UCSF, near where I am in the San Francisco area, the Nobel Prize winner, Liz Blackburn, who was the discoverer of telomeres, together with other epigenetic studies, showed that in training in mindfulness, she was shocked. They had to do the experiment over and over because she was going to risk her reputation, that even 6 or 8 or 10 weeks of mindfulness practice began to change the caps on the genes, extend the telomeres so that the genes in your cells were protected and transformed by your mindfulness practice. And then not just the physical benefits, but the science of heart and mind. Cliff Sarin, researcher at University of California, Davis, has shown that practicing mindfulness, even for a bit, increases resilience so that you're able to recover from shock or grief or difficulties and balance yourself again in a much better way. Richie Davidson in his lab in Wisconsin showed that 8 weeks of practice increased the capacity to approach challenges. There's a shift in the brain from the right brain to the left brain. Tanya Jacobson at Harvard increased presence. Instead of being lost in thought and lost in our worry and lost in the past and lost in the future, instead of mind wandering with this training, the science shows we become more and more able to live in the reality of the present, to see the eyes of the people in front of us, to notice the leaves on the ginkgo trees that drop onto the sidewalk as we walk, to, smell the air of that morning, to tend things that we care about, to taste the oolong tea or whatever our favorite tea is. And Antoine Lutz and Kimberly Montgomery as researchers showed mindfulness brings an increase in empathy and gives greater access to compassion. And for those who are interested in the science, even though it's, at this point, I think it's 5 years old, so it's sort of out of date because there's been this explosion of more research. There's a beautiful book called Altered Traits by Dr. Dan Goleman and Dr. Richie Davidson. And they sum up a lot of the decades of mindfulness practice and training, and all the benefits that I just talked about, and many, many, many more. So here we are, and I talk about this and want to say in a different language, what is it that gives mindfulness its power? The power to steady and calm and heal and bring a deep well-being, to shift from fear and anxiety or shame, from that sense of separation and isolation, the loneliness that we feel. And the shift is really a shift of identity. I'll read you a poem by a Latinx poet named Juan Ramón Jiménez. In Spanish, it's called Yo no soy yo. And in English, it's translated as I am not I. I am not I. I'm this one walking beside me, whom I do not see, whom at times I manage to visit, and at other times I forget. The one who remains silent when I talk. The one who forgives, sweet, when I hate. The one who takes a walk when I am indoors. The one who will remain standing when I die. And what his poem is pointing to is that there's a dimension of who we are, most fundamental dimension, that is not our loneliness, that is not being kept indoors, that is not being caught in our anger or betrayal or resentment or all those things. There's some part of us bigger. I'm not just that. There's a part of you that is always free. And this part, in a simple way, is consciousness, which is who you are. And I hate to be in any way disrespectful to modern science, because it's fantastic, but science really doesn't know anything about consciousness. It's the great mystery. And when you get to sit with somebody, as I have many times as people die, there's this extraordinary moment when that person is there and alive, and then their spirit leaves their body silently like a falling star. And then it's just a dead body. You are not your body. You are the consciousness that was born into your body and that will also leave it. Here's a little experiment. If you go into your bedroom or bathroom where there's a big mirror and stand in front of it, all the better if you take some of your clothes off, and you look at your body in the mirror, what you notice is it's aged, right? I mean, mine has lost the fur on the top, and then it gets extra fur growing other places. It gets wrinkled, it droops and sags. The skin isn't so smooth as it used to be. You see all the signs of aging. But the weird thing is that you don't necessarily feel older, right? You know that thing? It's like, okay, I can see this, but I don't feel that much older. And that's because the body exists in time, but consciousness, awareness, is not bound by time. It's timeless. So you become the witness and say, how is this human incarnation going? Well, it's lost its fur, it's getting older, but you are the witness to it, the loving witness in that moment to say, I wonder how it's going with this incarnation, with this time, with this body. Who you really are is awareness itself that was born into this body. Now, when you start to recognize this awareness, it also dissolves the false sense of separation. When you're lost in your fear, in your ambition, in conflict, you forget who you are. But when you realize that you are consciousness itself, then the sense of separation of things starts to fall away. because consciousness receives it all. That's who you are. Famous American author Alice Walker writes of a woman. She says, "One day I was sitting there like a motherless child," which I was, "and all of a sudden it came to me, that feeling of being a part of everything. And I knew that if I cut a tree, my arm would bleed." And I laughed and I cried. I ran all around the house, because when you see it, you just can't miss it. We know this. You know it too. The moments you've had out in the ocean, or walking in the high mountains, or going into a sacred place that reminds you of the mystery. The moments of listening to an extraordinary piece of music, or making love, or being there at the birth of a child. Here's another human being coming into the world. Wow, extraordinary. Who are we? Here it comes in. Or being at that moment of death, where all that really matters is love. A new baby comes in. What do you want to do? You love it. It gets ready to leave. Now an older person died. Last gesture, you hold hands of that person and you offer love. This is what matters. And mindfulness and love then come together, and they become what we call loving awareness. Mindful, loving awareness. And this mindful, loving awareness becomes gracious and present, open to what's happening, feeling connected, not isolated or separate. As the poet Rumi says, you become like the guest house, welcoming all that comes and goes in a gracious way. This ability to step back, to become the space of awareness, is a gateway to freedom, is a great medicine. Let's do a meditation practice together to get a sense of this, probably 15 minutes or so. So put your notebooks down and let yourself settle just where you are. Sit at ease as best you can, with some combination of alertness or presence, but also a bit relaxed. This is not a grim duty. This is rather an invitation to understanding and presence. It's an invitation to quiet the mind and open the heart. So as you settle yourself here on this earth, it's as if you sit halfway between heaven and earth in this human body, under your own tree of enlightenment, of awakening, each of us. And first, take 2 or 3 long breaths, breathing out long, and feel what wants to be let go of. Let the eyes and face be soft. Loosen the jaw. If you like, you can roll your head in a little circle to release your neck and let it find a simple upright. Relax your shoulders, let them relax, and let your arms and hands rest easily. And feel the seat of your body pulled by gravity, connected to the earth, a steadiness. Let the belly be soft and the breath natural. And let the heart be soft as well, to receive whatever arises with kindness, compassion. So now, with this embodied presence, begin to be aware of your own present moment experience. First, feel the sensations and energy that make up this body. Notice how it gently breathes itself. You don't have to do anything. And relax with each breath. Ease, gentleness. You're not trying to become a good breather. You're bringing loving awareness to the mystery of this breath that breathes together with the trees around you and the oceans. And almost as if you could bow to it, to your breath, a gesture of respect, you could say, thank you. Thank you for breathing and taking care of me. Relax. I'm meditating just now. You can relax. And then open the mindful, loving awareness to feel the whole sense of your body. This body, which has all kinds of sensations, tingling and heat and cold and pleasure and pain, tightness and excitement and energy. This body which carries so much and walks so far, it works so hard. Feel the whole sense of this human body, and especially all the places of tension or tightness, the weight that your body carries to get you through the day and the year. And just notice it all with loving awareness. Feel what calls to you from the weights and difficulties your body carries. And how the kindness of compassion and loving awareness can touch and hold this body. Can listen to it and feel what it needs. You can know. And now, as a gesture of respect, as if you were making a bow, say to your body, thank you for carrying so much. Thank you for all that you carry. You can relax. I'm okay just now. Hold your body with compassion and loving awareness kindly. Say, I feel you. I will care for you. Thank you. I'm okay in this moment, just now. And feel the steadiness of your awareness. Now bring your attention to your heart, to this human heart that feels so much. The heart feels love and loss, excitement and joy, sadness and grief, fear, tenderness, anger. Sometimes the heart has to carry a great deal. And sense with loving awareness all that your heart has been carrying. Not trying to fix it, but giving attention with this loving awareness. What has this heart been carrying? So much. And as you feel all that your heart carries, bring the quality of compassion, kindness. Your heart carries so much. And notice how the heart responds to this kindness. And with loving awareness, as if to make a bow, a gesture of respect, you can say to your dear heart, thank you. Thank you for carrying so much. You can relax now. I'm meditating. We're safe. I'm just here and now in the present. I'm okay just now. And let your heart relax and be held in loving awareness. All of it. I'm okay, dear heart. Thank you for carrying so much. You can rest, relax. And now bring your attention to the mind, to that thinking stream of words and pictures, all the things in your head, the images, the imaginings, the worries, the pictures, the hopes, the struggles in the mind, the stories it tells. It's really busy in there, and it keeps producing thoughts of past and future, analyzing, judging, imagining, creating, picturing endlessly. The point is not to stop the mind. It produces thoughts, secretes them the way the salivary gland secretes saliva. It just does, it's doing its job. And feel the whole energy of the mind as you're quiet. Thinking, planning, analyzing, trying to remember these. Oh, I want to write them down. Does this work? Doesn't this not work? How can I use this? Maybe I shouldn't. And it does that with everything, analyzing. And mostly, it's trying to keep you safe, trying to help you find your way. But it's so, so busy going over and over what will work, what will keep you safe, how you get through it all. Feel the energy of the mind, the busyness of it. And wrap compassion around it because it works so hard. And see what happens when you bring a loving awareness and compassion to this mind. And then, as we have with the body and the heart, offer a bow of gratitude. Thank you for working so hard to try to help me, keep me safe, protect me, figure things out. Thank you, dear mind. You hold it with compassion, a gesture of respect. And you say, thank you. I'm okay just now. You can relax. Thank you for working so hard to keep me safe. You can relax now. I'm okay. You can rest. And let the mind become quiet and rest in a sense of peace. And finally, notice something very important in the meditation we've been doing. You have shifted your identity so that you can observe, but you are not your body. You are not your feelings and emotions. You're not all those thoughts. You become the loving witness. You shifted to become loving awareness itself. Spacious and open, present and kind. This is who you really are. And this is the gateway to freedom that mindful loving awareness offers you, offers to all of you, to all of us. Rest in this well-being, spacious and peaceful. You are loving awareness. It is your home, your true nature. Rest in it, respect it, relax. You are the witness. You are the awareness, the consciousness. And wherever you go, you are always free inside with all that comes and goes, because you are consciousness. You are loving awareness. You are free. So now you can open your eyes, if you will. And this space, this invitation to step back and become loving awareness. When I go into companies or work with the CEOs and vice presidents at Google or Apple or Nike or Ford Motors, or I work with lawyers and judges in the court, they are all stressed pretty much, and they all need a way to regulate themselves, to tend themselves through a mindfulness of breath and body, through mindfulness of emotions and feelings, through mindfulness of the mind itself. And in teaching them in the simplest way, I invite them to say thank you to all the troubles and say thank you for trying to protect me. I'm okay. I can live in the present more fully. Yes, you can plan. Some thoughts have use. Yes, you can remember. But the reality is that you are here. And if you're here as loving awareness, you become gracious, composed, and as the science shows, physically more healthy and emotionally more resilient and loving.